Yes, so good evening. Welcome all of you to the Virtual Imagination Club. I'm so glad you could all
Hi, Ellen.
join us here this evening. Sorry?
Sorry, I was just saying hello, Ellen. Sorry, rude.
Ah, hello, Ellen.
I'll shut up.
Shut up, Andy. So thank you so much for well, not for coming, but switching on your computers and participating in this evening's workshop. It's wonderful. I think there's a couple new faces here, so very quickly what the Imagination Club is about. We like to see ourselves as a safe space for trying out new ideas. So for facilitators, trainers, enthusiasts, the Imagination Club is an opportunity to try out new workshop ideas, content, techniques, whatever, with a receptive, intelligent, and incredibly good-looking group of people like you, and especially you. For you, the good-looking people, it's an opportunity to learn something new in a short 90-minute session. If you're intrigued by what you learned tonight, you can get in touch with Andy later for more information. You can do some Google work. You can find out more about it. Even if you don't get that excited about this evening's workshop, you almost certainly learn something new, and that's always a good thing. So this evening, the workshop is being run by my very dear friend, the man who needs no introduction. Oh shit, what's his name? Andy, that's right, Andy Whittle. Who's seriously a very good friend of mine. Andy's a certified life and executive coach whose goal is to help people reach their potential and thrive in stressful environments. And we are all facing more stressful environments these days, aren't we? He's a trainer and event host, including being the co-founder and co-host of the Imagination Club right here. And Andy loves to share tools and methods that help people be more creative as well as to gain the life skills necessary to be better connected to themselves and the world around them. And so, Andy, we're all yours.
Well, thank you very much, Jeffrey. What a lovely introduction. I wish I could have written that myself. Okay, so what Jeffrey said there is true. I am expanding my knowledge even more and learning a lot more. I've gone back to college for the next few months. And so I'm relishing the actual opportunity to practice one of the models that we're practicing as part of the course. So thank you all very much for being my guinea pigs this evening. I prefer testing on humans to animals, and because you're slightly more responsive and my cats appreciate it, I think they've heard most of my workshops now as I practice them. So yeah, the Rose model, what's it all about? Well, the Rose model was put together by a friend of mine, Paula King, who's actually part of the faculty at Kingstown College in Dublin, where I did my coaching training a few years ago now. And she's always on the lookout for new tools and methodologies to ease the way for people, to get them thinking. Good evening, Vera. Okay. Yeah, so tonight the Rose model was put together, and it's in 4 sections, and I hope we actually have time to go through all of them this evening, but at least you'll get a taste of what her methodology looks like. I did send most of you, maybe not the latest participants, the handout, and I'll get that to you afterwards, or maybe I'll put it in the chat box so the latecomers can actually have the handout as well. So it's split into 4 parts, and the reason she put this together, it was a model to get people to look at their values and strengths and how they think and how they work and what they want and where they want to go and who they are a little bit, and and also to get them thinking, to give them some encouragement, some empowerment. And hence the 4 titles, the R for reason to exist, optimism, self-identity, and empowerment, hence the acronym ROSE, R-O-S-E. And she's used this, and the way she described it was it's used to just take another look at your values and beliefs and strengths. We don't always realize how our values run our decisions and how they can help with our decisions as well. So that's one thing that she was specific about. And beliefs and our strengths. What are we actually strong at? Now, most of us for most of us, this is a blind spot. A lot of people don't realize that they're really exceptionally good at something, and it's only when they're questioned about it that this comes out. So the main takeaway for this evening is to enable you really to have deeper thoughts about what you are doing, where you are going, how you're going to get there, and learning how to make decisions throughout your life based on knowing what your values are. I don't know if anybody has ever done I think it's called the VIA strengths test. Some of you may have heard it. It's to look at your strengths and values, and that comes back. And I do mine every now and again. I've been asked to do it, and my values seem to change a little bit. And I had to do it last week again, for about the X time, and they slightly changed again, in slightly changed order. I don't know if I'm growing or changing or whatever, but similar ones come back, so I know that they are me, if you like. So that's all nice. So I know more or less what my strengths and values are, but in case you're wondering what they are, thank you, Kira. Perfect. That's exactly the one. I found this incredibly useful, and I want to be able to take this out to others. So I thought I shall test it out on you guys, see if I can explain it well enough. Is the explanation clear enough? Do you understand what we're going to be doing tonight, more or less? Well, I haven't told you everything, but the basics. Thumbs up. You don't look too confused. Okay, excellent, good. Let's carry on. So there's, as I say, 4 sections. So what I planned is to put you into pairs, and so to make this not a lecture and not so boring, for those of you who actually have the book. Now this is going to be a bit of an exercise, because I wasn't able to practice this in advance. What I want to know is, if I put you into breakout rooms of pairs, I want to know, and we'll have to play with this, if you can still see my screen share. I want to know if that doesn't work, if you still have access to the chat box, in which case I can paste the questions in the chat, or I can send you a link.
Andy,
yes, Ruth. Ruth, yes, you were saying?
Yeah, I've used Zoom quite a bit with the breakout rooms. And I think once we're in the breakout rooms, the way you communicate with us is you can send us like broadcast messages.
Yeah,
that
but
we
I
will
tried that with
see.
links. Does that work?
I don't think we will see the group chat, and I don't think we will see your screen.
Okay.
I hope that's helpful.
It's very helpful. Disappointing, but helpful, because I wanted you to get into breakout rooms. So we'll change the methodology, and it's going to be a little bit flatter. I did want you to actually work a little bit yourself, but the exciting thing about that is actually there's a lot of questions in each section that you can choose from. And what I was going to do, I was going to ask you to pick 3 questions and ask the other person, and they would then ask you the questions back. The advantage of doing it this way is I get to pick the questions, you get to write the answers down, and we can chat about it afterwards. And that actually gives us more time, so it should be a more relaxed workshop this evening. So
can I suggest something, Gabby?
You certainly can, Gabriella.
Excellent. An option would be maybe to display the questions. We take a screenshot of, and then we get the questions and we discuss them in the breakout rooms.
Indeed. Or I did send a mail with the handout with the questions on. I don't know if you got that. Not everybody did, but I can send it out to.
Yeah, I have the yes. Okay.
Right. For those who didn't get the handout is now in the chat box, in the group chat, so you can download it if you want, and then you get the questions. So what I propose is go back to the original order. We'll try it out. If it doesn't work, we'll go back to the old-fashioned way. I will put you into breakout rooms of pairs at random, and because there's an even number of people, I will actually have to join in with one of you. No surprise. I was going to hope to pop around from room to room, but I will actually partner with one of you if that's okay. And Jeffrey will as well. I hope you can go into a room. And so let's do how many rooms? We need 8 rooms. Options, and we got, I'm going to give you 12 minutes. It's only 2 minutes per question, 6 minutes each. It's going to maybe feel a little bit rushed, but I want to get through all 4 sections if that's okay.
And which questions are we going to look at all of them?
Eventually, yes, but the first set of questions is going to be R. So you're going to choose from the rows, from the R, from the rose model, from reasons to exist.
Okay.
So the question starts off with, what are the most important achievements in your life? But don't do 1, 2, 3. Pick them at random.
So 3 from each block, and does each person have to answer the same questions? Or
No,
can we pick our own
you can
questions?
each choose different questions.
That would be most interesting for us.
Exactly. I think it'd be more interesting if you ask different questions. Is that clear for everybody? Into pairs, interview each other, 3 questions each. You've got 12 minutes starting from now. There you go. Excellent.
Back.
Everyone's back. So that went really, really quickly. And I'm sure you only had time to ask only 1 question. I was paired with Paul, and we just asked like the first question and went off on a tangent, which led to other questions, but did you can turn your speakers on, give me some feedback. Did everybody feel the depths of those questions? Did they lead to something else?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, which ones did you pick? Give me an example of which ones you picked.
So I was with Ellen. We chose, what are the most important achievements in your life?
Yeah.
Now, let me find this. It was to do with our mission and our purpose.
Yeah.
I see the
What
exact
gifts
question
and
there.
talents support you in accomplishing your mission in life was the second one.
Mm-hmm. And then what was the third one? Because you chose that. If you see that.
And we only did 2.
Did we? I thought it was 3.
We only did 2.
I don't think you'd have had time to do 3. I mean, I was struggling with Paul.
But we both responded to the 2 questions.
Excellent.
We replied, because if someone gives you something from deep inside, you have to give something in return, right?
Absolutely. One of the things that I find with this sort of type of questioning, and that's why I wanted you to sort of pair up instead of all coming from me, is because when somebody does give you the gift of opening up and being honest and whatever, it gives you permission to also do the same. So, and the more you go, the more, the further you can expand. So I think it's quite a powerful way of question. So everyone's back. That's good. What a good looking bunch this evening. By the way, I forgot to mention, and if you're not happy with it, let me know, but I've just noticed I'm recording this evening. So I just thought I'd let you know that I'm recording. And actually what I'd like to do now is I'd like to ask you all to smile. Can I take a screenshot of everybody? If you don't want to be in the screenshot, look away, put a mask on, turn your video off. I just want to do a screenshot of people smiling. There you go. Perfect. There we go. I even got myself smiling instead of looking somewhere else. Excellent. Perfect. Right. So let's move on to the next set of questions. And now these questions are supposed to evoke a sense of optimism. For example, question number 1, very, very simple, and I left this purposely at the top. What are your biggest hopes and dreams? And even that is sort of, this is more looking forward rather than looking back. The reason to exist, we just asked, what are the most important achievements in your life? This is looking forward. What are your biggest hopes and dreams going on into the future? And some of the tricky questions here are, what are you willing to give up to make this happen? Or what are you willing to do to make this happen? What are you willing to stop, not necessarily give up? And if there's a problem at the moment, what would you like instead of the problem? These, again, I'm going to give you another 12 minutes because otherwise we're going to go over the hour and a half. Pick some tricky questions there. Don't just pick the easy ones or the top one. Have a look through, a quick read, and see what question you think will get the most out of the other person. There's some there which are second questions, but most of them are first questions. So have a look at the questions. Ask your partner what it is. Would you like to get back with the same partner, or should I try and rearrange it? Same? You happy-ish? Okay, well, that's good. Right, well, I'm going to give you another 12 minutes to have a look at those. Have a think of the questions. Maybe 3 was too ambitious. Try and stick with 2, and then use the secondary question maybe to go a bit further. And yeah, let's go into it.
We're going to do optimism.
You're going to do optimism, exercise number 2. Sorry, yes, I wasn't clear on that.
That's numbers.
Yeah, optimism. The O in Rose. Here we go. Open all rooms. I'll see you in 12 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, everyone's back. Fantastic. And there's Kira. Perfect. So, I nearly asked that very corny question, how was it for you? But how did you find that second set of questions? There was only actually 1 or 2 real questions in that set. The rest was sort of like follow-up questions.
Yeah, okay, I'll just want to start, please.
Angelica, please.
Because the heading is optimism.
Yeah.
And yet you use the word problem and problem and problems and problem all the time. And we did not like that, me and Louise.
Okay, oh, great, good.
If I can,
it's good feedback.
If I can answer this, we all have problems, because that's why, yeah, in our life, but we don't always look at problems in a positive way. We only see the negative.
Yeah.
So I think this chapter, actually, the way the questions are made, it's to kind of frame frame our point of view, the way we look at things, also positively.
Yeah. Indeed, but I mean, I do understand that the word problem is in there 2 or 3 times. Maybe they could be tweaked to be more, what do you call it, positive psychology sort of style, sort of appreciative inquiry style questions. So great, excellent, good feedback, thank you. Ruth, yes, please.
So I noticed that the questions, I mean, so we're picking different questions. So in round 1, I was asked, what is my legacy? And in round 2, I was asked, what are my hopes and dreams? And for me, there's quite a big overlap between those 2. So there wasn't enough. And also because I was working with somebody different, I think if I'd partnered with the same person, it would have been better. But because I was starting fresh with somebody, it was like, oh, haven't I answered this question already?
Yeah, sorry about that. That was Zoom playing silly buggers. Louise, you said you had put your hand up there.
Yes, actually, I just wanted to also add up to what Angelica said, is that we took the set of questions with the problem in it to also set up our own definition of optimism. And so it also helped us to spark a conversation about optimism. And so we also came to the conclusion that optimism is itself a choice. And yeah, we used the example of a paper, like on one side, it could be a too bright picture, yellow, that just gives you a headache. Or you choose to see a sunny, wonderful yellow paper that just puts you in a really good mood.
Fantastic. Wow,
so yeah, then we just developed a bit more on this.
No, indeed. And in actual fact, one of the things that is well known within sort of coaching circles, that we all, each word means different things to different people. and it's our own interpretation that do it. So to go through this deeply, maybe this is a lesson to be learned for me as well, is to actually get the person who's in front of me to define what optimism means. So each of the titles, what do you mean by reason to exist? What does it mean to you? What is optimism? What do you mean by self-identity? So, but tonight, of course, we haven't got time to go into that, but that's fantastic feedback. I think that's a real eye-opener to actually get people to define it, to see where it goes. Yes, Candy.
I actually like the questions. For optimism, of course, you were talking about problems, but I realized that I hunt for problems, and that brings optimism in my life.
Okay. It's however you see whether it is as a problem or an obstacle or a challenge. There you go. You see, you could change any problem into a challenge and overcome it. Okay, great feedback. I've made note of that, and define title as well. I like that. I do that a lot actually, but I didn't think about it for this particular session. How are you all feeling? You okay? You good? You haven't fallen asleep yet or whatever? Good. I see some energy there. Excellent. Well, let's. We're halfway through, so I'm just going to give me that self-same feedback for the next set of questions. As I say, this is put together, and I actually deleted some of the questions which I didn't like. So you've still got a limited set of original questions, but I would like feedback on what they mean to you as well. So we'll see. There's a lot more questions in this section, so you may find it harder to choose. I'll try and put you in the same pairs so that you don't have to start again from scratch, as long as Zoom behaves. And sorry, Ruth.
And
yes.
Sorry to interrupt. You know, because Ellen and I are now getting so chatty, it's difficult to concentrate on the questions.
Okay.
We fancy changing partners.
Okay, all right. So Ellen and Kathy want to change. All right.
Well, both of us do. Sorry, it's not only
Both
me.
of us do. Okay, well, I'll tell you what we'll do is I'll try and switch you with Paul and myself. There you go. How about that? So we don't disturb everybody else. Because I've been chatting about everything with Paul as well. He's a chatty chap. Okay, right. So let's go into breakout rooms, and you may sort of change rooms in a minute. And we'll see how we go. See you in 12 minutes for after discovering your self-identity questions. All right, we're on exercise number 3, self-identity. Pick a couple of questions, go for it. See you in 12 minutes. Excellent. Well, how's the energy levels? Is it okay? Sort of good. How are you enjoying the question? Did you find that set of questions far more deeper in a way than the previous set? These are one of my favorite set of questions, the self-identity. What was your opinion? Anybody?
I thought the questions were good, and possibly agree with you that they were the favourite, maybe the favourites.
So far.
We had a nice chat anyway, so
that's good. It's sometimes hard to stay on track. We had a fantastic chat as well. I know what you mean, Kathy. I was talking to Ellen. Oh.
What we thought with Paul was that we might check out what other people think about us. So we thought what others might say we were most passionate about, but do we really know?
Let's test it.
We had the same conversation.
Yeah.
We had the same conversation. Fantastic. And as I told Ellen, one of the reasons, there's a lot of reasons, sub-reasons behind these questions which leads to other questions. One of the reasons we asked that question is to, sometimes when we're building an image for ourselves, we don't realize how other people see us. So it's always interesting to get feedback from other people. What is it I'm most passionate about? What do you think it is I do for a living? who am I to you? And we're all different things to different people. I gave the example last week to somebody. I sometimes, maybe even to some of you, I sent an email out saying, what title would I put on my business card? And I think every single person I got an email back from said something different. So I just didn't do it. But I mean, our identities is amazing, but it does make you think about how we are being presented to the outside world. So that, for me, that's a fascinating question. Excellent. Right. It's great, isn't it? I love all these questions. I could do this all night, but I won't do it to you that way. Let's move on to the last one, because I'd like to get some more feedback at the end. And the last one, there's a lot of questions on the last one. So just browse through them quickly. This is more about empowerment. And if you've ever talked to a coach or worked with a coach, whatever they'll say is, what if money was no object? What would you do? You know, we all dream of winning the lottery and things like that. So there's a lot of questions like that in here. So this one is supposed to sort of like leave you a little bit boosted. Gosh, yes, I could do that. What's stopping you? Well, nothing's stopping me. Well, go for it. So this section should give you a little bit of a boost, hopefully, to empower yourself, to realize that it's you that's in the way, not anything else. Of course, winning the lottery would be rather nice as well. But I suppose you have to play the lottery to be able to win it. Yeah, let's go into our groups again for one last time, sadly. I know you're building up fabulous relationships already. We're running out of time. It's 8:15 at the moment. I'll give you another 12 minutes. That only gives us about 8 minutes to wrap up. And I got some questions for you then from me from a personal level to find out what you thought of the model and how I can take it forward. So breakout rooms for the last time. We're on exercise 4, empowerment. Just pick a couple of the questions, ones that you like, and just go for it. Well, if I had a TARDIS, I'd pop into all your rooms and give you a huge pat on the back and a hug for doing so well this evening to being my guinea pigs. I'm so humbled and grateful that you were here tonight. I hope you enjoyed a glimpse into one of the models that we did. What did you think of that set of questions, by the way? Anybody? Kathy?
Yeah. I liked all the questions. I didn't read them all or ask them, but I wasn't, probably because we only could take 1 or 2 per section, you couldn't really see the link, you know, between the different sections.
Good point, yeah, indeed. Even though in a way I felt it was a journey, it started off pretty easy and worked up to the harder questions, but you're right, seeing a natural link between the 4, it's a good point.
They were nonetheless very interesting, but as kind of isolated questions and discussions.
Yeah, they could have led to hours of discussions, I know. Vero, you had your hand up earlier.
Yes. We started with, I was working with Gabriella, and we started with saying, oh gosh, I have the feeling that I know you so well already. Like, it's so okay. Deep. And we never saw each other before. So I think it's really one of the great parts of this exercise. And for me, the question that Gabriella suggested me was really so concrete. So I wrote down, and I'm going to do it tomorrow, like from tomorrow. So I feel like, let's go.
Excellent. So ending on the empowerment wasn't too bad, but a natural link between all of them could be more explicit, maybe a route or a path or a different way of describing them. Yes,
So
Ruth.
I noticed that there was a connection between all of them. And for me, the connection was about, what is your legacy? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? And in every section, there was a question related to that. And
you're supposed to move forward, yes.
My sense of it was you would take a topic and then drill and then ask some of those questions around a topic rather than in a generic way.
Absolutely.
And so that's kind of because I kept being asked that question about my hopes and dreams. So I was able to do that, and it was quite interesting the way of the evolution.
Excellent. Oh, good. So we had a for and against, but anybody else? What were your thoughts? Your deepest, darkest thoughts? No, maybe not so dark. Excellent. Okay, cool. Well, did anybody take any notes? Did anybody sort of, okay, Vero said she's got a plan. Anybody else have anything, any aha moments, I like to call them? Yeah, there's a few there. Excellent. A few thumbs went up. One of the purposes I mentioned at the beginning was to expose, if you like, your values and strengths by questioning you on what you've done so far, what you've achieved, and where do you want to go, and how will these same strengths that you used before take you into the future. Did you recognize any values and strengths that came out stronger than others? Maybe tomorrow when you think about it, you'll wake up at 3 in the morning and think, oh yeah, I must ring Andy and tell him that. Oh no, not at 3 in the morning, please. Angelica, yes.
I think there were so many questions that they are sort of buzzing a bit around in my head, but I definitely found that there was a thread, and also not only a sort of thinking thread, but also a thread directly to the situation I am in right now, and I thought that was pretty cool. I hadn't expected, I don't know what I'd expected, but I hadn't expected that outcome. So kindled by, of course, the questions, and then, of course, the conversation with my partner in crime, Louise. So that was nice.
Excellent. I'm so glad that you actually had to get the conversation instead of just being a one-way thing with me, because I tend to possibly talk too much. It's great that you actually got the chance to talk to others and get to know others as well in this funny world. So what? In two ways, I'm trying to sort of see how I can phrase this. There was a selfish aspect to the workshop tonight. I wanted to practice it. I wanted to see how I could explain it. I wanted to see how you reacted. I wanted this lovely feedback that you're giving me. And I did think all sorts of different ways of doing it, limiting the number of questions, but I wanted to give you choice. I wanted to give you, to see what was sparked in you, because we're all so different. The different questions would spark up different things between us. So I hope you all got at least some little thing from that. I'm quite pleased with the way it went. I managed to do 4 breakout rooms fairly easily. We had a couple of technical hitches, but that's to be expected. You were all very good and fantastic. So yeah, thank you all very much for participating. I got an awful lot out of it, and I can't wait actually to do again. I've actually got to give a presentation on this in 2 weeks' time. So I'm glad I had the chance to practice it with you, my lovely guinea pigs. Thank you. There you go.
Thank you, Andy.
My pleasure. You can clap if you like and turn your sound on. Sound is far better than just
That's
the
Zoom
visuals.
clapping, apparently. That's Zoom clapping.
That's Zoom clapping. Oh, yes, indeed. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That's great.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you.